Afternoon, councillors, officers, members of the public. Welcome along to the first briefing session for 2017. I'll more formally welcome Mr Osborne to our city ranks next week, but tonight, welcome to you, Mel. Councillors, we have got two councillors on leave, Councillor Jones and Steele, and we've got apologies from Councillors Hayward, McGuinness and Warnock. Declarations of interest. I have a declaration from Councillor Cook on item 10.2.9. Are there any further declarations of interest? Thank you. We move on to item 10. Any questions regarding 10.2? Three. Councillor Giles.
Question, thank you. I just want to clarify that this doesn't impact at all on the Lady Mitchell Centre. This is an ongoing thing that we've always had. Is that what I'm gathering from the information I've got?
CEO.
Through Mr Mayor, no it won't. It's the area previously agreed by Council.
Yeah. Further questions? Councillor Kelly.
I've got two questions, Mr Mayor. Firstly, whether or not the lessor is aware of the access responsibilities in that establishment in the car park, and the second one, are they notated in the lease?
CEO.
Through Mr Mayor, just for clarity, you're talking about disability access, etc. If so, no, I don't believe there are noted in the lease. But certainly it's not. That's an issue that's been addressed through the development approval as part of the overall development, but I don't think it's separately noted in the lease, but I'll confirm that before next week.
Any further questions? 10.2.4. Councillor Steck.
Thank you, sir. I was just reading the report. I was just wondering what real economic benefit does the community of Bunbury get out of it?
CEO.
Yeah, through Mr Mayor. The Regional Capitals Alliance has been going for some years. The main focus has been on research, which was fed into the Regional Growth Plan as part of the growth planning process as well. The councils involved have used the forum, I guess, for lobbying for changes through state government. The focus going forward is about trying to keep that group going and raise issues of significance to the regional capitals. So in terms of specific dollar terms back, there's not a lot that's come back through in terms of a financial return. It's probably more about the research and supporting information that we're utilising for other projects now going forward.
My second question, thank you for that, Mr CEO, but my second question would be, given that the federal government is going down the path of doing exactly this in relation to the end of the mining boom, the federal government is now going to all regional areas across the country to discover and research what they can do better or how it's affected all individual communities. So how does this work with the new federal government's program?
Yeah, Councillor Steck, before I go to the CEO, there was a federal government committee that toured Australia last year. The CEO spoke at that attendance in Western Australia. I think it was up at Geraldton. So resulting from that term of contact throughout Australia, the federal government has now adopted a regional strategy. So the CEO and others in Western Australia did put forward the importance of regional development to the federal government body, and as you alluded to, there is now some action occurring.
So that's a spin-off
from the
this.
participation in Walker, yeah.
So that is seriously an economic benefit then?
Well, it's a very strong social and economic benefit.
That's right. Thank you.
If anything comes of it, Councillor Steck.
Thank you, sir.
Did you want to add to anything? No, it's fine. Further questions? 10.2.5. 1026. We'll deal with that next week. Councillor McCleary has indicated an interest, Councillor Cook possibly, myself as an alternate. We'll talk about that next week. Give it some thought, councillors. 1027, questions? Councillor McCleary.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I was a little bit perplexed. In the summary, the CEO is to investigate the development of a reconciliation action plan. We seem to have jumped, and I would like to know why we're looking at implementing it when we haven't had the recommendations back. I can't see the toing and froing. I'd like more discussion, not just jumping straight into implementation as recommended by the CEO. We did, from Councillor Cook, it was that CEO to investigate the development of a reconciliation plan for the City of Bunbury, and already we've jumped straight into the implementation of one. I ask why this is so, why we aren't having a discussion on the recommendations, why aren't we speaking of the pros and cons, the expense of putting it in place? Are we an equal opportunity employer anyway? These are sorts of questions that I'm asking, because when I looked through and went and did the research, there's a lot of reporting back that we'll need to do, almost to a point where we may, it would seem, have somebody in our employ just looking after that. So I'm not against it, but I feel that we haven't researched it enough, and we've just had this thrown at us to make a decision without good discussion.
I'll hand over to the CEO, who can lucidly explain his strategy.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillor, in relation to the recommendations that are there, we've done a brief report already, having a look at the issues. We've talked to other councils across the state who have already gone down this path and the work that they've done. The recommendation 2 is consider the allocation in the funding for 17-18. As part of that, we're going out and doing some further research to identify what the real costs are, both to develop the plan and the implementation and monitoring. So that'll come back as part of budget discussions for this year for Council to formally consider. If Council agrees to put it into the budget with the additional information that comes back at that time, then we'll actually go and start commencing the plan. Until the budget's approved, though, we won't actually be commencing it. So the part 3 is to authorise the commencement of it, which is obviously once we've got budget approved. So that'll be in next year, in time for the Reconciliation Action Week in 2018. So it's a staged process still going forward. We're not just initiating it from this point.
Further questions? 1028. Any questions regarding that proposed lease?
Just in relation to one question.
Sorry, Councillor Stick. Yep.
There was a report a couple of years ago in relation to the health of the Leschenault estuary, and part of that report was that they wanted to ban all powerboats inside the estuary. Can I just have a quick overview as to what the council strategy is? Because I know we did vote to maintain status quo, but is there any report back from that previous report that we got? And long term, where are we going? Are we going to continue status quo? Are we looking at in the future, banning powerboats?
Yeah, I think I'd be interested to know what authority, if any, the City of Bunbury's got regarding the water or the inlet. Councillor Kelly, I'm sure, will answer that question. The other part of that, Councillor Steck, is with the Transforming Bunbury Waterfront project, the plan is to actually get the Powerboat Club moving across to the Kambana Bay Sailing Club, and hopefully the Bunbury Yacht Club will follow suit when Casuarina Harbour boating facilities are further developed. So eventually I would expect the Powerboat Club and the Bunbury Yacht Club to move from there to either the Sailing Club or to Casuarina Harbour. But CEO, Councillor Kelly, you've got informed knowledge of this matter.
Just to elucidate a little bit, Mr Mayor.
Thank you.
Upon the demise of the Leschenault Inlet Management Authority, which previously managed the waterway under the Waterways Conservation Act, the waterway became unvested and, if you like, uncontrolled. Under the Land Act, it's my understanding that an unvested waterway returns to the responsibility of the local government authority. I can't quote the exact section of the Act, but this was subject to some discussion amongst some professional colleagues some time ago. But essentially that if the LGA didn't pick it up, then it remains unvested, uncontrolled, uncared for to some extent. However, there are other acts that come across it, including transport with acts speeding on waterways, if they're navigable, etc. Yep. So at the moment there is a bit of an unknown space there.
Muddy waters, maybe. So in answer to Councillor Steck's question, then Mr CEO could have a little bit of research before next week if there's enough time. Would that be okay with you,
Well,
Councillor?
even not before, it's probably very extensive, so I don't expect it next week because there's quite a fair bit to go back through. So,
All right.
But I know,
We'll
I
take it on
remember
board.
reading it. Thank you.
Further questions? Thanks, Councillor Cook. Any questions regarding 1029? Okay. Thanks, Councillor Giles. I hope you didn't wander too far. Yeah. Ten three one. I think is there a change mooted for this one, Councillor McCleary?
Mayor, just a rather loose word was used, head, in point 2A. Mrs. Balder-Smith, we're going to like to change that to advisor. That's the
Okay.
only change.
So we'll have that incorporated next week in the council agenda. Thanks very much. Are there any questions regarding that matter, the International Relations Committee? It might be worth mentioning, Councillor McCleary, that Nartrang has signed off on the friendship.
Yes,
Did you want to do that?
yes.
Just for
And,
information.
definitely, and they're looking, Nartrang have signed off on their friendship agreement with us, and they're looking forward for the city to visit next year and have an official visit, this year, 2017. So, thank you for that. And
we're going there and they're taking
no, they would like us to go there. Okay. And I've just got to say that our executive is doing absolutely a wonderful job. I have to put that in. With 3
Okay.
international cities. I've got to give her a...
She's not here. She's not here to
Doesn't
listen. She
matter.
might be
She
tuning in
deserves
from
it.
home. Are there any further questions? 1032. Any questions regarding that matter? No. 70 is appearing younger to me every day. 1041, Mr. C, I think you're going to amend this slightly.
Yeah, through Mr Mayor, there'll be a slight amendment coming out to this, and we'll just send some advice out before next week's meeting. It's just some change to some other legislation we've got to pick up through the delegation. So that'll be amended for next week.
Are there any questions, councillors? Any questions regarding this matter? Any questions? Councillor Morris.
Look at the map in relation to lot 517 where this development wants to be built with the 3-meter elevation. Taking a look at the other lots that are undeveloped at the moment, has the planning department actually taken a look at the implications of raising those levels of 3 meters where the established homes are now at 2.7, that if a flood does occur, that we're setting up stream patterns within those low-lying areas, thus damaging the homes that are presently there at a greater extent than what they would be if it was kept at 2.7.
CEO. Let's put him on the spot, shall we?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, I can't answer that. I think that might have to be one we have a look at before next week and provide an answer back to council. Unless someone from planning can answer it on the spot.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, my understanding is that the ordinary levels across that particular site at the moment are up to about 2.95. So even if it was undeveloped, those same issues could occur on an undeveloped site. The applicant has requested a reconsideration of the FFL from 3 metres down to 2.7. We've taken account of the property next door, and the alternative recommendation provided for 2.86, I think, which would match the floor level of the property next door. So not all the properties in the area, as we understand, have been developed to 2.7. There are a myriad of heights throughout the area already existing.
Is there any topographical maps that would give us a very detailed elevation in terms of, let's say, the 2.7 to the 3 metre, so that we can take a look to see where stream patterns would form if we actually require 3-point metre?
The CEO's got something to show there, Councillor Morris. So the answer is yes.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there would need to be some detailed feature surveys of every site to understand what the finished floor levels are at all the different buildings. We would have some information, but whether it's across the whole area would take quite a bit of work to recover, I think, all of that information.
What we might do is, if Councillor Morris has any further questions, he'll bring it back through the CEO and we can go from there. I don't think he's advocating great expense here. Any further questions, Councillor Morris? Councillor Kelly? He's right.
I just, as a quick one, with respect to that area, which there are relief floodways, amongst other things out there, and one day I suppose the river will come down. Does the city have a emergency management plan for that area subject to flood?
CEO?
We'll check that and provide a response back whether there's one specific for that area.
Sometimes we get questions just out of the blue. Mr. Osborne, you've just got to be ready. You. Okay, no, thank you for that question. We'll get it sorted. Any further questions? Thank you. (10.51). Just wondering how Wackett Drive. Maybe I won't. Is that a golf? That's a golf term, isn't it, or a cricket? It's a cricket term, Councillor Kelly. Wackett. I shouldn't be. Someone will ring in after tonight. Don't go there. They're all aviation. There we go.
But sir, do we have any names that are original pilots from Bunbury, like even some possible World War I veterans or the like of World War II or Vietnam? Can't we use some of those names as well that have historically have value to the city?
We can ask the question, Councillor Steck. You'll take it on. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for that. Further questions? (10.52). Pretty straightforward. Any questions? Okay, are we, shall we keep going, Mr. CEO, or do you want to bring these gentlemen in to do their... It's all confidential anyway. We'll keep going. All right. Ladies and gentlemen of the public, thank you for your attendance. We're now going to deal with some confidential items. I look forward to